of God speak, would you pour down like rain? Hey friends, this is Word of God Speak, and this is the key of C, and this is an extended version that I want to teach you. And this is where we exclusively teach chords like sus chords, B flat 2, no 3, split chords, things like that you typically see on chord sheets, and we have once stripped away to keep them simple. And this is where I'm going to layer them back in as a little piece of exclusive content for you. This is really fun to be able to play these chords. They add more beauty, more color, more variety in your sound, all while still keeping it simple with our rhythm in our right and left hand, so that we can add some dimension and add some tools per se into your musical tool belt, but still keeping the rhythm simple. And you'll find there's so much beauty when we do that. Okay, so I'm going to go through these chords for you, and I'm also going to give you a way to sort of cheat them back to the simplified way. So I just usually recommend starting with one or two of these new extended chords, as I call them, and then, choosing to layer them in one at a time as you'll feel confident. All right, so let's talk about the B flat chord first. So you'll see this written on this chord sheet, and you'll see that in the description below. If you just click on the description, you'll find the link to the chord sheet. So we have B flat, C, and F. Okay, so that's the three notes that make up this B flat 2, no 3. Okay, and so B flat, if you don't want to play this B flat 2, no 3, you can, just play B flat by itself, which is B flat, D, F. Okay, what it's meaning, so I'll play fingers 1, 3, 5, which is what we typically do. It simply means you're not playing the third of the chord, you're playing the second note of that chord, which happens to be this C note. I'm not going to get into the details of why. I'm just teaching you it quickly. Okay, B flat, C, F. Okay, so if you don't want to play the B flat 2, no 3, take your pencil to your paper and cross out the 2, no 3, and then just strip it back to the B flat as so. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at the C chord. So we could play that just regular, C, E, G. You're going to see it written as regular, different parts of the song. And then there's going to be three other ways that I'm going to teach you how to spiff it up a bit. Okay. So they play this suspended chord where you'll see it written C, sus, C, S-U-S. And that simply means it's suspending the noise out a bit. So it moves the third of the chord up 1/2 step. So from here to here is a half, okay? And it's playing this suspended sound. Do you hear the difference there? And often your ear, wants to resolve it back to the root kind of sound. Do you hear how you're hanging out there and you're kind of like, oh man, I kind of wanted to bring it back. So oftentimes you'll see it written C sus followed by C, okay? So if you don't want to play the C sus, that's totally fine. Just play your C major chord, okay? Cut out the S-U-S, take your pencil to your paper, cut it out. All right, let's play the C2, no 3. So we play, again, this is kind of the same tool that we taught you with the B flat 2, no 3. So you play the C by itself, and it would be C, E, G, right? Well, if we're going to cut out the third, we're going to play the second of the chord, and it would be C, D, G. It's a really beautiful open sounding chord. Okay, and you can play just the C regular. If you'd rather not play the C2, no 3, just go back to the root of that chord, which is C. Here's the C2, no 3. I love this chord. It's so open sounding. It's really beautiful. All right, then the last way that we can spiff up the C chord is our C over F. It's written like a split chord or a slash chord. So that simply means I'm going to play the chord up here, and I'm going to play single note down here. So you're seeing it written C over F. Okay? All right. If you don't want to play a split chord here, you could play just C by itself, and then you'll pick up the C bass note by itself instead of doing that split. Okay? But it's really beautiful to add it in. So, all right. Let's move on to the F category. So F 2, no 3. Okay, when you see that 2, no 3, we just got done doing that tool. What is that doing? It's cutting out the third of the chord, moving it to the second. So, we have FAC is our F major chord. Okay, that's kind of what you could default to if you don't want to play that 2, no 3. You could play the F major. The F2, no 3 cuts out the third of the chord and plays the second note only. Okay, has this open sound again. Okay, if you notice this kind of being a shape in your hand, I want to talk about this for a minute. Look at this shape, how we have these 2 notes close together. We got a couple note gap, and then we have that note up here. Look at if I freeze that shape in my hand and go back and play that C2, no 3. Go up to the C position. Ooh, do you notice a similar pattern, a similar shape in my hand? That's pretty cool. Okay. The B flat 2, no 3 is a little different just because we're picking up that B flat note. But so back to the F2, no 3. This is how you can play it to fancy it up. It's so beautiful in this song. And if you don't want to play it like that, we can just play the F major chord. Okay. F, A, C. All right. Another way that you can fancy up the F chord is playing a split chord. Remember, go back to the tool. What did I teach you? Chord over single note. So we have F over A. And oftentimes with these split chord or these slash chords, it's splitting out one of the sounds that are already in this chord. So what are the notes up here? F, A, C. Okay. And it's splitting out that A sound. F to A. Typically we teach you, you just play F to F. Well, when that split chord comes up, it kind of selects a different sound and it splits it out and it makes your ear go, oh, is that right? Am I playing that right? You have to kind of trust the process when you're adding these extended chords in. Trust your ear a bit. All right, so let's go on to and I should say, for that F chord, if you don't want to play the F over A, that's totally fine. You can just play F to F. F to, just F major chord, okay? All right, so the G sus, you'll see that again. What is a sus doing? It's suspending that chord out. We can come back to this default of a G major chord, G, B, D. That's what we could play if we don't want to play that sus. Just cut out the sus. But if we want to suspend this chord, we're moving the third of the chord up 1/2 step. Okay, third moved up a 1/2 step is our G sus. It's really beautiful, often followed by the resolve chord back to the G. Okay, so you'll also see it written as a split chord. So we have G sus, which is here. And now we're going to select an F chord, F note, I should say, down here. So that's not following my rule where it typically selects a note that's already in this chord. There's going to be a little dissonance there, but this song has a lot of that where there's a little bit of friction going on musically, but it's so beautiful to add some of those dynamics in. So we have G sus over F single note. Okay, if you don't want to play the G sus over F, you could cut the F out and just play G sus to G in the bass. Or you could cut out the sus and just play the G regular. Okay, so there's some options there on how to, like I said, choose 1 or 2 extended chords that you're going to add in and then begin to add them in systematically, one at a time until you feel confident. All right, so I'm going to sing and play through, let's see, I think I'm going to start with the verse, yeah. And so you could see how we sound when we add in some vocals, and then I will break down the rhythm for you and we will go through a little bit more tutorial for you, okay? I'm finding myself at a loss for words, and the funny thing is, it's okay. The last thing I need is to be heard, but to hear what you would say. Word of God speak. There's a little bit of drama going in there. It's hard for me to find that starting pitch. I don't know if you ever struggle with that. I'm finding myself. All right, that's the starting pitch. There we go. Okay, so what I would recommend when you're first going through this with me is to go through the chords with just the right hand only and remove the left hand. Then maybe just do the left hand only along with me and then bring the 2 hands together. Like I said, choose 1 or 2 of these new extended chords that you're going to add in. Simplify the rest like I taught you. Okay. All right, let's go through this verse 1 together. So I'm going to show you what the left hand is doing first. and then we'll bring the rhythm in. Okay, so left hand is just playing single notes that line up with chords in our right hand. So if we're going to play B flat, 2, no 3, which would actually be this, I'm just going to play B flat by itself. Okay. And then we have our C to C. So single note just down here, C chord up here. And this is also just a good review for what chords are in the song. C sus to C in the bass. Okay, C2, no 3, C in the bass. And then C over F. This is where your hands and your ears are going to have to kind of play a little dance of, are we right? You know, am I playing that right? Okay, so there's C over F. Okay, then we have F2, no 3 with F in the bass. Then we have F split or F over A in the bass, just single notes down here in our left hand. Then we have G sus, G in the bass. And then G sus split F. And that's what that looks like. Okay. So for the left hand, if you're going to simplify any of these chords in your right hand, you'll kind of just go back to the root of the chord. So for all the F chords, you could just play F in the bass. All the C chords, you could just play C in the bass. B flats, B flat, and G, G. But if you're going to add in some of these new extended chords in, that's where maybe the left and right hand are no longer going to line up together. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the rhythm. So this song is written in 4/4 time signature. So it's a rhythm I call 1-to-2 ratio. And it simply means we're just going to go together, then just the right hand. Together, right, together, right, together, right. And you're just playing this nice, simple marching rhythm. It gets you through a bulk of this song without really having to do anything complex or sophisticated, keeping it simple. So let's start with that G sus over F in the bass here. I'm finding, okay, C chord, myself at a, okay, C sus, lost for words. Okay, this one kind of has a little bit of a different rhythm, but here we go. C2, no 3. And the funny, okay, F, C over F. Thing is, it's, oh, sorry, G sus F over F. It's okay. C over F. The last thing, G sus over F. I need C is to be heard. C. C2, no 3. But to C over F, hear what F2, no 3, you would say. Okay, so this didn't exactly follow my perfect rhythm of this together, right, Sometimes you have to quickly get from chord to chord. Like you only have a chance to be on this C chord for for one beat, and you have to transition to the C over F in that same, together, right? But for the most part, you can kind of bear your way through with that pattern, okay? Word of God speak, would you pour down like Jesus? Rain, washing, there's that G over G. Here's that F over A. And then B flat 2, no 3. Eyes to see your F majesty. Okay, so that whole line, for the most part, did kind of go through this block chording pattern where, let's back up, washing my eyes to see your majesty. Washing my eyes to see. Then pick it up. Your F majesty. To be still and see, know that you're in this Jesus place. Okay, this is probably going to follow that same suit. So we're going, please let me stay and rest. Notice that, I'm just going to back up a minute, that G F over A, B flat 2. That's kind of block chording through it. So we go, please let me, here's that F over A, stay, B flat 2, no 3, stay and rest in your F, holiness, word of God speak, C chord. Okay, so let's back up just a second. I want to talk about patterns. I don't think I've mentioned this, but in the chorus, if you notice, lines 1 and 3 are the same, C, G, sus, okay? Then lines 2 and 4 are pretty much the same, G, F over A, B flat 2, no 3, and then they throw in the extra F. But notice patterns in your music. Also, verse 1 and 2 look to be the exact same. I don't think there's any changes there. There's a lot of repetition going on. Notice that because it helps simplify things in your music. All right. Okay. So let's take a look at the ending. I'm finding my, and then C, self at a C sus, lost for words. Okay. Here's that C2, no 3, and the funny things is C over F. Okay. Split chord. It's okay. Oops, sorry. It's okay. Kind of goes down in the basement vocally. But here's that F2, no 3 at the end there. It's okay. And then C over F. Okay, so it comes like F2, no 3 with F in the bass. Then you're just moving to the C chord. Okay. It's such a beautiful song. It's so lovely with all these split chords, sus chords, the 2 no 3s. So take it in small sections, work on just the right hand only, left hand only, bring those 2 hands together, work on maybe just the verse and then just the chorus and then bring in that ending. Notice those patterns, that repetition for you. Have a lot of fun. I'm going to play it beginning to end and you can play with me. And when you find you mess up, find your next word or chord or syllable that you can keep going. You can also control the speed in your settings. Just slow it down a bit. Have a lot of fun. This one's so pretty. All right, here we go. Finding myself at a loss for words. And the funny thing is, it's okay. The last thing I need is to be heard, but to hear what you would say. Word of God speak, would you pour down like rain, washing my eyes to see your majesty, to be still and know that you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. Word of God speak. I'm finding myself in the midst of you, beyond the music, beyond the noise. Last thing I need is to be with you in the quiet. I hear your voice, word of God speak. Would you pour down like rain, washing my eyes to see your majesty, to be still and know that you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. Word of God speak. Would you pour down like rain, washing my eyes to see your majesty, to be still and know that you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. Word of God speak. Would you pour down like rain, washing my eyes to see your majesty, to be still